Thank you for having me, and it's absolutely a fantastic pleasure to be here at JLF. India and books are my happy place, and music, obviously.
JLF 2024, we have Catherine Scofield with us. So, how do you graph this journey of Indian music through? I mean, has it transformed, or has it been affected by the Western music space, or has it just grown by itself?
It's a really good question, and this is actually gets to the heart of the question. So, what causes musical change? Because, of course, in this period, what we see is the rise of the sitar and the tabla, which were previously not known in the courts. We see the rise of the khayals, of sadarang. We see all these amazing courtesans coming. Tal completely changes, and in part, it's to do with the collapse of the Mughal Empire and the scattering of musicians and dancers all over India to new patrons who have new tastes, different tastes, want things done differently, like different things, and you conform to what your patron wants because otherwise you'll starve. But there is also British interest in this material. It's not so much British interest that changes things, though. It's actually British power. So if you have the British taking over Murshidabad, which they did, and Murshidabad has a massive budget for musicians, so 1,600 rupees per quarter, and the East India Company slashes that to 16 rupees.
So it's a downsizing of by how much? By
1,000.
by thousand.
It's 1,000. So that's going to have an effect on musicians and what happens in Murshidabad. And remembering that music is regarded as auspicious. You have to have music to be an emperor or a ruler. You just go to Amer Fort here in Jaipur and see the massive Naqara that's there, that massive Nobat ensemble, which is so important to the idea of Indian power, and to just, regard that as trivial, maybe something to listen to in a concert, on a Saturday
Right.
night. That's not how music worked then. So that it's those kinds of changes. It's the British not understanding what music was for, and imposing things like a 9 to 5 working week on the rag. What do you do with a midnight rag or a midday rag if everybody has to be at work from 9 to 5 Monday to Friday?
Music also works as a therapy, and they used music for so much more than just entertainment and just as making it a part of their courts. How do you see music in those ages? I mean, for example, let's imagine we are in the 17th century. What is a particular day with music in 17th century?
So in the 17th century, the Mughal emperor or the emperor would get up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when their day started after their siesta, and each of the watches of the day, of which there were 8, are marked by the Nobat ensemble playing music, and rag music, more intimate music, is played in the evening and in the morning. And of course, what silly person other than an English person is going to work from midday to 3 p.m.? So it's completely different. But on the kind of subject of therapy, the Sanskrit and Persian music theorists of this time connected the 7 notes of the scale to the 7 celestial bodies visible to the naked eye as they move through the 12 houses of the zodiac, and same thing with the swaras. The 7 swaras move through 12 positions. And so each of the notes of the rag would connect with a particular astral body, which would then have an effect on the humors of the body. So this is where you get this idea from, that if you play rag Malhar, or one of the Malhar rags, during the monsoon, it will cause the rain to come. But it will also actually kind of cool down the human body and the human humors. And they did use it as a therapy to balance out the body of the individual, but also the body politic, to calm down the fractious, sort of enemies in political life. Play music, you bring everybody together.
Is somewhat related to science, and this is, I mean, as you suggested, the 7 ragas and the 7 celestial bodies. Uh, do you also think that when we talk about science and when we talk about music, there's a huge overlap that you just mentioned? But was there no music therapy, or was there any raga that you know about which can help in solving political issues?
Well, I think any rag that's going to kind of make people calm and bring them together, like Ragini Tori, that is supposed to bring everybody into a calm, peaceful, ecstatic state, should be performed for those reasons. But there is a real scientific underpinning to how music affects us now. I mean, we have different understandings of science and of how the brain works and so on. But it really is true that if you play music at 60 beats per minute to cows, they produce better milk and more milk.
True.
So we know that there is a scientific underpinning to how music makes us feel, how it improves our health, and it's a really important part of well-being.
What are your expectations, and what other projects are you working on?
So at the moment, I'm starting a new project on looking at the songs of South Asia, like right across the spectrum. What does a song do? Especially when you can sing say a ghazal in Hindi film style. You can sing the same. So Vidyati just sang a ghazal that was sung by the great Muhammad Rafi. But a ghazal of Bahadur Shah Zafar, and Zafar would have sung it very differently. So what happens when something that's written down as lyrics becomes transformed by being made sound and becoming communal? How would you sing Zafar's ghazal? How would I?
I won't dare.
Me neither. I'd sing it very badly. I'm just really interested in what song does here in India and in places like Afghanistan, where, of course, music is now banned.
Right.
What happens when you actually ban music? What happens to people's souls? Because souls are connected to music in a really profound way. How awful is that? And actually, the book is dedicated to Afghanistan's musicians.
I think we all find our own music, and I hope everybody on this planet, while we are alive, they found their own music. Thank you so much, Catherine.
Thank you for having me.
93.5 Red FM.